of the hardest realities that people don't like to admit is that looks do matter. Being attractive versus being ugly in high school. It might not seem fair, but life's not fair. You're gonna have to get over it. This is just something that you're going to have to accept at some point in life, sooner rather than later. But definitely during high school, depending on how you're moving, you will have night and day experiences, whether you consider yourself ugly or attractive. The new kid that everybody thinks looks good and everyone wants to sit next to him or her, or the nigga that's just invisible unless somebody wants to copy the homework. High school didn't treat us all the same. And the truth is, the way you looked back then, it mattered way more than some people are willing to admit. But here's what a lot of people don't talk about. The game does change. And today we're gonna be breaking all that down. When you're attractive in high school, tall, clear skin, strong jawline, whatever it is, for the most part, you get the pass on virtually everything. Teachers assume you're smarter. Classmates want to be around you more. You make that weak ass joke, everybody's laughing. You walk into the room, everybody's looking at you, giving you that validation. Objectively speaking, when you are more attractive, you don't have to try as hard. I know it doesn't seem fair, but attractive people don't play by the same rules as ugly niggas. When people find you attractive, they tend to project more value onto you that you might not even have deserved. And naturally, that's gonna build confidence organically because you're constantly being rewarded for virtually doing nothing. You got girls coming up and shooting they shot with you. Everybody's always inviting you to all the activities and shit. Out the gate, the world treats you like you matter. And that can shape who you become as a person. But there is a dark side to that. It's great to have all these things happening to you just because you exist. And if you're mature enough, you might actually be able to use these things to a huge advantage in life. But what happens to a lot of these guys, especially during high school, is they end up peaking very early. A lot of the hardship that we endure during life, even though it doesn't necessarily feel the best when we're going through it, it's these down bad times that allow us to learn from our mistakes and strive to be better people in general. One thing that pain gonna do to your ass is gonna make you dig deep and try to figure out how to become a better person. So when everything feels like it's just been handed to you on a silver platter, it's gonna be a lot easier for you to fall into this position. Young and immature, getting all that validation, it's so easy to develop a shit personality. Lacking emotional intelligence, you don't got no work ethic, and why would you? You didn't have to earn nothing. Now on the other side, where you're considered ugly, you're in high school, you're chopped. Or maybe even worse, you're just average, you're not conventionally attractive. And I ain't gonna lie, that sucks because you're kinda on some NPC shit. You're just a background character in the world, just constantly being overlooked. A lot of these people end up being the funniest people in the room, but only because they're loud and obnoxious about it. You could be loyal, smart, and creative, but because you're being judged on your outside appearance, nobody really gives you that time of day to truly express yourself. You watch the girls that you're obsessed with go be with guys that don't give a fuck about them, and vice versa. Y'all always getting friend zoned or just straight up ignored. And the most frustrating part is anytime you do anything or try to apply yourself, everybody start pointing the finger and being like,
yo, you're weird, you're trying too hard.
Anytime you try to do something, everyone wants to make a big deal out of it. You're weird for trying. I understand how hard it is to be in this position, but I need y'all to really start to understand something. You do low-key have the advantage because while you're suffering now, those guys are gonna be suffering later. High school is just 4 years of your life. And then if you go to college, most of y'all are only gonna go for another 4 years. So you're looking at about 8 years of your adult student life. Even if you stretch that out to 10 or 12, that is still nothing compared to the full adult life that you're gonna have to be dealing with till the day you die. Which if you're anything like me, we praying to hopefully live past 80 or some shit. That might be really long, but I wanna live that long shit. I don't know about you. As long as I'm able to walk and talk and shit, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to say is if you take that time to start working on your personal value, you start figuring out your version of being funny, mysterious, interesting, develop great social skills, find a sense of style that works for you. And yes, you're doing all these things because you have to, but there's nothing wrong with building your character in the shadows, bro. Because one thing that I know is for certain in this life, that long-term win is always so much better than the short-term one. Now I can easily see after me saying all this stuff, if you're watching this video and you consider yourself to be conventionally attractive, you feel like you're a semi-popular guy in school, you're watching this, yo, Berto, what the fuck, bro? You just shitting on us, man. But I just have to call a spade a spade. If you are an attractive guy or a conventionally attractive guy or girl, girl, you're fighting two different battles here. You probably noticed you got a lot of yes men around you. People that don't really ask too much questions, but they're just always gonna validate your feelings. Everybody's sucking up to you because you the man on campus, or girl. When it comes to you, the biggest challenge that you're gonna be facing is the mental one. More than anybody else, there is gonna be so much pressure on you to not become an asshole, to not become this cocky, selfish, hard-headed person. If everyone around me at that age was making me feel like I was the shit, naturally, it's so easy to just accept I'm that nigga. I don't need nobody. I'm the man. You're gonna have to work overtime to be hyper self-aware. Even more self-aware than the guy that's considered quote-unquote ugly, because you are naturally blessed with things that everybody's working so hard to achieve. So you don't necessarily have to try. And a big harsh truth for y'all is a lot of people that be sucking up to y'all and consider themselves to be y'all friends ain't your friends. They're envious of you. They jealous of you. They want what you got. And if they could, they'd see you bleed. You were just the entitled prick that was handed everything in life. Why would I want to see you win? It's your responsibility to look deep within yourself and stay humble. Continue to work on yourself, because nobody else is telling you you're gonna have to find your own weaknesses, even if your bad is better than everybody else's. I know you guys have heard the saying, your best day is my worst day. Well, that might actually be the reality for a lot of you guys. Without even trying, you are doing a lot better than people that are busting their ass. But just because you ahead of the curve doesn't mean you can't get better. You cannot settle, because if you do, people will pigeonhole you into thinking that you are the best. And while they are working in the dark to take your spot, you gonna look up and realize, oh shit, everybody done passed my dumb ass. Because I'll tell you one thing, everyone loves a good come up story. But the guy who has it all, oh yeah, they gonna laugh as you fall all the way down from grace. Now here's where things get really interesting. After high school, looks still matter, but not in the same way. Because you're now living in the real world, people are gonna start to look for value out of confidence, energy, direction, presence. And a lot of times the guys that weren't just handed social success on a platter, they start to win. All of a sudden, that nerd who was getting called weird in school because all he did was spend his free time working on his passion projects, he's considered cool and inspirational because he started so early in life and he stuck to his dreams the whole time. I know you guys have seen it. The guy that was getting called mid in high school, all of a sudden everybody wants to date him. The quiet kid that was always keeping to himself on the computer all the time, he's rich as fuck because he done started some crazy business. Making that real money on, getting to it. That awkward kid that everybody was like, oh, he dresses weird, he ain't got no sense of style. Now all of a sudden, all the things that you were calling weird about him dressing is now cool, and he like a fashion icon or some bullshit. Meanwhile, the high school golden boys, again, because they couldn't keep their ego in check, they done peaked in high school. Now they looking around chasing validation. They stuck in the past, always talking about some, remember when I used to do this? Remember when I held this high school record? Like, nigga, ain't nobody give a fuck about your high school record, bruh. Some of these weirdos still attending high school parties and shit. And I ain't gonna lie, man, if you over the age of 18 attending high school parties, your ass might need to go to jail. But the shit completely flips, bruh. All that cute bullshit that used to impress the high school girl and she thought was like really attractive during high school quickly starts to become immature and lame when you're actually an adult. Because at this point, women aren't only looking at your looks, they're looking at your pockets too, nigga. Can you provide? Can you take care of a family? And the same thing goes for girls. All the girls that was succubus and Tatiana's back in school, you know what I'm saying, only focused on how much niggas they could smash. Fast forward, they 30, still doing the same shit with 5 kids from 4 different baby daddies. I'm trying to tell you, that shit get real quick, bro, if you don't start paying attention. And a lot of these girls getting older keep chasing this young girl lifestyle, but they not getting any prettier. What happens to these women when they start looking like aunties and grandmas and they still trying to compete with the women that are young and beautiful still? They burnt out and ran through. It's crazy. When it's all said and done, high school does not have to define you. It kind of just shows you where you're at. Either you're a little bit ahead, either you're a little bit behind, maybe you far behind, or maybe you far in the lead. Being attractive back in high school is definitely one of the things that will temporarily put you in the lead. But that could either be a huge advantage or a very unfortunate disadvantage. But it's up to you as the individual to make the best out of it. And being ugly can give you all the motivation that you need to become the best version of yourself. Or you can bitch up and let it ruin your life. So if high school is messing with your confidence, good. It's part of the process. Let it. Just be aware about it. Be intentional. Use that shit as fuel. Lock in. Allow it to help you build your body and your mind. If you made it this far into the video, comment below, build, not born. That's gonna let me know that you don't have the attention span of a squirrel's brain and your shit's not fried. I wanna see who's really on their shit and locked in. And if you want to learn how to stop being the nice guy and having women and people walking all over you, click the video that's gonna play right here.
Where you at, Berto?